Thanks so much, Casey. Really appreciate that. Dr. Vin Gupta, I wanted to talk to you, so thanks very much for being with us. Let's talk about these tests, but first I want to bring you an update, and unfortunately we understand that the president of the University of Notre Dame, the Reverend John Jenkins, has learned that that Father Jenkins has tested and found to be positive also. Now, Father Jenkins was at the White House on Saturday because, of course, Amy Coney Barrett had taught for 15 years at Notre Dame Law School, so he was one of the honored guests there on Saturday. And now he, as well as Mike Lee, who were in the Rose Garden for that event, have tested positive. And he says his symptoms are mild. He will continue to work from home. The positive test is a good reminder for me and perhaps for all of how vigilant we need to be. Of course, Notre Dame was originally supposed to be one of the debate sites and decided as a cautionary measure for their students and faculty not to host the debate there, so that debate was moved. So, Dr. Gupta, we're learning just how unpredictable this is, and I still have these questions about these rapid tests because the president has felt so confident about not wearing a mask because he's tested every day, but now we learn that he did test positive after testing negative, repeatedly testing negative.
Good morning, Andrea, and it's good to see you. It's a lot to unpack. Let's start with testing.
Yeah.
Right now, from what I understand, that based on reporting, the White House has the Abbott ID Now machinery. Nothing against Abbott, but that test has been independently assessed from scientists at NYU and other organizations, and their false negative rate. So that means you actually have COVID-19, but the test says that you're negative, is 3 out of every 10, we think, maybe even higher, according to some studies. So the fact that the executive branch of our government is relying on, frankly, a poorly performing rapid test does not inspire confidence. The fact that Senator Mike Lee, you had referenced this, I'll move on to point 2, is negative one day, positive the next. Hope Hicks, same thing. Could mean one of two things. Either the test was falsely negative on day 1, turned up positive on day 2, or potentially also likely, they were incubating COVID-19 in their bodies. So they were exposed, they were pre-symptomatic, they were incubating the virus, and then it took some time for the test to actually turn up positive, because then there was that lag window before they were exposed and then truly infected, that incubation period we refer to. Unclear what was happening. Here's the thing, on point number 3, the Capitol physician, that makes absolutely no sense. Why Amy Coney Barrett and why Joe Manchin and others are not broadly tested. And first of all, they should be tested. That makes absolutely no sense. I don't know what guidelines that Capitol physician is operating with.
Let me just say, she has been tested. We're told she has been tested and has been negative, but you're absolutely right about the senators and the Congress members.
And they should be. Jim Jordan, absolutely. Jim Jordan should go directly to quarantine. Jim Jordan was on Air Force One, around what is a very dangerous situation because Hope Hicks was on board and was symptomatic. So she is a high-risk exposure for everybody on that flight. Everybody on that flight must immediately or should immediately go into quarantine for at least 10 to 14 days per CDC guidelines, irrespective of their COVID test. I hope they do that.